My friends were home. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Today we're focused on Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 1, The Next Generation. I am just too excited
The beginning
to
of the
talk
end, sir.
I'm excited. Welcome, audience. Thanks for waiting. My shuttle was stuck in some kind of weird traffic, but I'm here now, so that's good. This is being broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So if you're on
Jesus.
Twitter and you're seeing this, say hello. And I didn't tweet anything, so if anyone wants to retweet stuff for me, that would be great. I'm so happy to be joined by PJ. Welcome back, PJ, from Boat Wreck. Our friend Braxton, who's just Braxton. No,
Hi
you got a presence on Twitter as well, and of course Toddy, who I can say through my Next Generation chats was my number one. So, welcome. And in Starfleet Boy tradition, I didn't have time, but I am doing the Jean-Luc Picard right now, so I am bald. But I didn't have time to dress up or anything, so I'm just here as is. I'll do better.
For this show, you should always go full Picard.
Yeah, it's the full Picard. It's the full Picard. Yes. So welcome. I guess let's start out by doing a quick episode summary. I've got one ready to go, unless one of you guys want to do the episode summary.
Punch it.
Yeah.
Punch it,
Anyone
yeah.
else
Hit it.
want to do the summary?
You
All
do
right,
it.
here we go.
Whack it.
Jean-Luc Picard is enjoying his romance and retirement with Laris. Huh? Everyone thought we forgot about Laris. So he's enjoying his retirement, and he's like writing letters and stuff, and he's about to go to Romulus to have a little like vacation where he's gonna write his memoir. But then suddenly he gets a encrypted message from Dr. Beverly Crusher, who he has not heard from in over 20 years. And she's like, Jean-Luc.
I wonder why.
Yeah, we'll find out. Jean Jean-Luc, I need your help. Don't involve Starfleet and trust no one.
Mr.
So
Mulder.
what's that? Yeah, exactly. So what does Jean-Luc do? He involves Starfleet.
Trusts everyone.
And he trusts everyone.
He just every
Which is
person
fine.
that he meets, he's like, "Hey, by the way,
He's like, hey, by the way, Beverly's in trouble.
Beverly.
I've got this encoded message from her, and she said not to trust anyone. But hello, no. I have good. I feel like
I
it's
have
a
an
good
interesting
explanation.
thought about that. We'll address it
Yeah,
later."
me too.
Mhm.
Anyways, so he lets Riker know first, and Riker helps him figure out more of her message. There's like a cool little reference to the best of both worlds, and together they scheme to not steal a starship exactly, but to kind of trick the starship captain into doing things the way they want, so that they can go to this what is it called? The Righton system, I think. The Righton system.
The opposite of the wrong end system.
The wrong end system. And retrieve Beverly. But it doesn't work. Captain Shaw is completely by the book. Maybe he's a disciple of Captain Jellicoe's. Who knows? But anyways, Seven, who happens to be the commander of Titan A, which, by the way, this is a brand new Titan. It's a brand new kind of ship. It's it's kind of a cool. Thank you, Wright and Jill. It's a cool looking throwback to the refit Enterprise, but it also has like very modern looking features to it as well. Anyways, Seven, feels kind of sorry for her friends, so she takes matters into her own hands and reroutes the ship, and voila, we're there at the Righton system. Jean-Luc and Will steal a shuttlecraft, and they go into this nebula, and they find the Elios, which is Dr. Crusher's ship. And when they board, they see like they do this really awesome kind of detective work, and they see exactly like kind of what happened. They're able to tell like from the blast marks and everything, like where the action was happening, which I thought was very cool, like forensics
full
type of
Aragon.
stuff. Yeah, they did do a full Aragon. That's true. Anyways, they get to the bridge and they see that Dr. Crusher is in fact in the fridge, as Braxton put it. I think like they put her in the fridge. Which, by the way, on the Ready Room, she said the same thing. I don't know if you tweeted that, Braxton, but she said the same thing. A fan said I was in the fridge, so I wonder if she saw that in your Twitter feed or someplace. But I heard you say it first. Anyways, she's in there, but there's someone else aboard the ship. By the way, we found that out in the beginning of the episode too. And this someone else has Riker, and there's like a whole exchange, and we find out that this young man, very handsome young man, is Beverly's son. But we don't know who the father is or anything like that.
We know who the father is.
We don't know who the father.
We don't need to go on more to figure this out.
I know it's semantics here, but it's not that we don't know who the father is. It's the show has not yet confirmed who the father is.
Who the father is. That's
right?
a good way of, yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. The show has not confirmed who the father is, and then
Clearly
all of a sudden
right?
And then all of a sudden this badass ship comes out of the nebula, looking like a bunch of trouble, and that's it. That's where we end episode 1. All right, I'll go first and just say that I'm in heaven. I don't know what to do with myself. I've watched this episode a few times already. I was also lucky to see it a little bit before everyone else. So yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about it. I'm excited to talk to you guys about it. Why don't you go next, PJ?
Well, I'm one of the few people who hasn't seen the whole thing, so.
I haven't seen the whole thing either.
I mean, like, so many people have seen the whole thing.
Yeah, there's
it's rolling. Apparently, the show is rolling around on the dark web like crazy. But anyway,
is it really? Okay.
Oh, I'm just a joke. I have no idea. But it seems like a lot of more people than normal have seen this thing. It's not normal for a show to be this pre-reviewed 6 episodes or more in. Like months, even with some people, months before it was even released.
I found out from the shout out to the Popcast guys, but apparently they saw all 10 episodes way back in like Thanksgiving time. So yeah,
anybody who's friends with RMB is probably got access to. I don't know. It's but the hype around the show was like huge. And that premiere was great. Like the fans were going crazy. I couldn't wait to see it. I never thought this would happen. Like the TNG crew back again for one last adventure. And I can certainly nitpick a lot of things, like sands through the hourglass. So is Picard, because the son reveal, and it's like, if Picard's not the father, then why would they cast Ed Spieler? What is it? Ed Spielers? I think that's how they pronounce it. Spilliers, yeah. He does look like he could be related to Patrick Stewart. If you said that was Patrick Stewart's grandson, I'd be like, oh yeah, I could totally see that. He looks more like Patrick Stewart than Tom Hardy did. So,
I think
I made a joke like he has an accent. He has a British accent. So
someone
takes
even
after his dad.
The kid. Someone even thought it was the kid who played kid Picard in TNG grown up.
No,
because he does look a lot like.
It makes no sense that he has an English accent. Like that means he grew up with people that have English accents around him. Because
I have a feeling we'll find out why.
Are accents hereditary in the future? Are they?
Oh, I see. That's right.
Like most of the things that we see on Picard make sense. Please.
Maybe human beings have evolved to your accent actually gets passed down, even if you're raised by a mother who is like has an American accent.
Maybe he's genetically enhanced and it's against the law. He was given an accent at birth.
Yeah, there you go.
Dreadful.
All kinds of convoluted reasons.
That's why they want revenge, because.
Oh my goodness. Let PJ finish his thing.
I'm sorry. I'm excited. I haven't talked to PJ in a while.
You went on the sidebar about the accent.
My number one favorite thing about the episode, just to lay it out, is Riker and Picard together. The writing with two of those guys felt so natural, and like it was the same characters, just older and maybe a little bit grumpier. Like there's these jokes that pass like, where's that sour look? Oh, there it is. Or even Riker, like I like when he dresses down. Seven, he's like, you're talking to an admiral here. And she's like, well, he's my friend. This is why I'm mad. And another part where at the end when I guess Jack Crusher surrenders, he still gives him an elbow to the face, like fuck around. I'm sorry, but you know what I mean.
That's your one for the evening. That's fine.
Like
Yeah, exactly.
Riker is
just
Riker,
like-
and there's no mistaking. You can't watch this episode and say that's not Riker because it is Riker all the way. And I like this little hint that maybe his marriage or he's having family issues. Maybe he wants to go back out there and he wants to bring them with them, and they're like, no, we want to stay on the Pente, and they need time apart. He needs a time apart from his family for some reason, and I like how they snuck that in there. Anyway,
It's Pizza or Starfleet, Riker. Come on, choose.
Braxton, what are your overall thoughts about the first episode of Star Trek Picard season 3, the reunion? Not sorry, we can't call it that.
it's not a reunion.
It's not a reunion. The final mission of the TNG crew here. What did you think of this kickoff?
So overall, I thought it was just solid. There were lots of things that I liked. Like I liked them starting off like they were in the bar. I was like, ooh, like I want to be in the bar, like hanging out, flirting, and like having a drink. So I thought that was really cool. When I mentioned fridging, that's a term that people use like when they when like female characters, like the only reason that they're in there is to like service, like and like it's like not to service men, but like to like drive like men's story points.
Right,
and so like
they're
I
a
found
tool,
myself enjoying like the show, but then it's like, okay, well, like Beverly's like in trouble, so she's like, ooh, like I need to like reach out to Picard, and they literally put her in the fridge, like in stasis. I was like, ooh, wow. And then like 7 of 9, like here they have like 7 of 9 being a yes man, like for years, like in Starfleet, like under this man. Like I feel like the 7 of 9 that we met in the first 2 seasons of Picard would have killed that dude. And like I don't know, like here she is, like
no, she wouldn't
like,
have
she's
killed
like,
Sean.
this dude
probably
is
wanted
like,
to.
He's correct.
this dude is like dressing her down, and here she just not saying shit. She just like swallowed her tongue. That is not 7 of 9. I don't want them to like do my girl like that. Like she is like my favorite character in all of Star Trek, and I just don't believe. I believe that she would have said no to that life. I just don't like that. And then like I felt the show started out with like on like Metalis Prime or something, and I was like, ooh, that's like so egotistical to like
Oh crap!
yourself
In the
into
whole summary, I forgot to mention the crazy plot
Talos
on
Prime.
Talos Prime. Jeez, hold on, real
Forgot
quick,
the main
real
character.
quick.
Yeah.
There's a
Very
crazy
Murphy.
there's a crazy plot on Metalis
so
Prime.
I feel like so here like they totally just like used 7 to like get what they were wanting. It's like, how you gonna like do that to like our girl, at first, and then I was like, and so Raffi's like one of my favorite characters, and I was like, oh damn,
even though I
dude,
forgot
like,
her in my opening.
Raffi's like down on her luck, and I was so happy that she was just like being a spy, but then that mysterious person like wouldn't let her forget like her like drug abusing past and like put it up on the screen or something, or we saw it on the screen, and then that person was like, oh, there's going to be an attack. It seems like they were having a casual conversation for like 90 seconds, and it seems like the first thing they should have said was, oh, it's going to be an attack, instead of just to like converse for a little while first. But I enjoyed a lot of things about this episode. Like I loved seeing Rafi. I think that Michelle Hurd is a good actress. I think that she is a really, really nice person, and I think that she's a really beautiful woman, and I really enjoy her performances. I love seeing Jerry Ryan. I thought that Patrick Stewart looks absolutely great. So it was nice to see them on screen. I liked it. I did think it was kind of sort of slow. They did some big things that kind of like offended my senses a little bit. And then like when the building like got sucked into the hole and then like came out and poured down onto like other buildings, that was a great CG effect.
That is the coolest attack we've ever seen in Star Trek.
But the fact that Rafi's doing she's not doing well. she's it seems like she might be about to relapse because she has the drugs in her hand and she's tempted. So this almost traumatized. She gets the clue and she arrives there just in time to see her not be able to do anything about it. She's physically witnessing this terrorist attack, and there's gonna be. I'm presuming there's gonna be more, but now I think this may send her down a dark path. And her contact, which I won't say, but we know who it is. She's telling Raffi, or the contact is telling Raffi, "You're a warrior." And it's like, I think she's going to go down a dark path, and it's going to force whoever that person is, he, him, she, they, whoever. I don't know who it is.
PJ, who's the contact?
The contact. Should I say?
Don't
it
say.
seems
No,
I
don't
think
say.
if
Just
you
say
want,
it, PJ.
Audience, if you want to take a guess, take a guess, but we won't
it seems
say. We
obvious,
won't
doesn't it?
confirm or
I'm gonna
deny. Yeah.
I think
It seems
I
obvious.
think you're picking up on cues that perhaps one who has seen only the first episode wouldn't necessarily think twice about them. I'll say
Well,
that.
But just for full disclosure, I've seen 2 episodes, so I'm going to sit on my hands a lot. But who else has seen more?
I'm
than
just
one
I'm talking
episode?
about the trailer show
Right.
this person and Raffi together, and he seems to be helping her through some trouble in
right,
the trailer,
right,
just
right,
in the
right.
trailer.
You're
So I'm
right,
like,
that's
I
right.
think he may,
Excuse.
I think this person may reveal themselves to like saying like, oh, this operative needs me. And you think it's Section 31 because I don't think it's like they say Starfleet intelligence, but it's Section 31, but they're not saying it type of thing. Like they're actually being covert about what they actually.
I would like it if it was actually just Starfleet intelligence, because like
Okay.
Starfleet. It seems like Starfleet intelligence is useless. Like
they're a bunch of
everything
lazies.
goes. Yeah, like everything just goes to Section 31. So
no,
I would
Section
actually
31
love-
takes everything from them.
takes everything. Yeah, it's like
They got documents
Yeah.
on the desk, and then it just gets swooped up during the night. Ah.
yeah. Who
Nothing
knows?
left to
Who
do.
knows? But good point. Braxton, were you finished with your like points that you wanted to make about the your like opening points?
Yes.
Excellent. Toddy, Trek on the Tube. Give us your opening.
I won't drag on
thoughts
too
about
long
this
so that we can like really get into the meat of it. I enjoyed the episode. Generally speaking, I do think that tonally and aesthetically it is a bit like somber. It's a bit dark. I would be fine without having like the free cloud kind of like dystopian cyberpunk, kind of cities. Like I'm fine without that in my Star Trek. I think that once now and then it's fun when you're like TNG. It contrasts with like the kind of like brightness and cleanness of the show to go onto like one planet like that or one outpost. But I think that here with this modern era of Star Trek, we get a lot of this, and so there's just that general vibe is something that I'm not too like. I guess I'm not vibing with that. Otherwise, in terms of like story, I got what I needed out of this first episode. I'm very happy to see like the characters come back. I do think that Braxton's kind of right. Beverly was kind of used as like a tool, like in a storytelling perspective, but that's fine for like episode 1 because I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have made a big deal about Beverly coming back if they didn't.
And Gates McFadden
want-
herself said she's very happy with like what she got. So
Yeah.
I can't imagine that she's gonna,
So,
she's gonna say that about.
We'll give the show a pass in that sense. Like it's just to get the ball rolling, get stuff moving. I think all the performances were good. I was very happy to see everyone. Like PJ said, like it was very natural interactions, and it also feels, it feels more like Picard and Riker interacting than, for example, in Nepenthe, where it felt more like Sir Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Frakes interacting. Like this feels. Yes, there's a friendship and there's a bond, and you can see that in the performance that shines through. But it also feels like those characters are a little bit older. 7, I mean, I was a little bit put off by the fact that she was taking so much shit, but then like they really fooled around with like her character in Picard. Generally speaking, I think that they took her in like a whole lot of different tones and directions over these 3 seasons. So like. I guess we'll see where the rest of the story goes. And to my great surprise, Raffi, I think, was the character that interested me the most in this whole episode and is like the main character. She's the only one really kind of doing a mission. She seems to be going through like a lot of personal issues with this mission. It seems to be, although it's kind of like not official, it seems kind of official still. I do like the fact that like she kind of looks at it was a bit obvious, but she looks at the drugs and then she drops them, and it's like it is like kind of like a visual way of telling you that she is struggling with it, but for the moment she's able to kind of like put it down.
The scene that
So
stood
that's
out to me that showed me
yeah.
the scene that stood out to me that showed me in that sequence that she's stronger than she's letting on, that it's an act. Of course, first of all, she's a great performer as the character is a great performer, because I thought when I first met Rafi, I was like, oh no, Rafi, like, did you go back into this world? Like, what's going on? And then when she's all like, Commander Musiker, requesting blah blah blah, and she gets like all like stands up straight, and she like drops her hood, and she looks like really fierce and stuff like that. I was like, okay, I get it. So I have a feeling she's got it under control, but she's still got some sadness though. I think because, well, she doesn't have her granddaughter. She's still in this kind of like cycle of like conspiracy. She's still kind of like, and we don't really know what the state of her relationship with Seven is right now. So, I know she was lying to the guy, the guy at the bar, and saying, "Oh, I lost my girlfriend. I lost my, all this stuff." But who knows? Like, they are definitely separated. But I also liked uh, the whole thing with Metalis Prime, because in without like saying it, it just kind of like made me accept, like, oh yeah, Elnor's on the Excelsior. Just he's out there. Like, it's okay that we don't see him. We know he's in Starfleet. Okay, I know I'm obsessed with Elnor. It's okay we don't see him. Like, the world is big, so it's okay. Like, we don't need the same. It's okay. I'm okay with Elnor.
Soji
being...
who?
You're not okay.
Yeah,
You want to see more
I'm
Elnor.
okay. I'm okay with it. I swear. And Soji too. Like,
Bring him
yeah,
to Lower
Soji who,
Decks.
but we know Soji's on her like mission to go and do all this like outreach about synthetics, synthetic people and stuff like that. So yeah, so I like that a lot. Sorry, Toddy. Was there anything else you wanted to say about the show before we get into the discussion?
Well, I guess the last thing is, in contrast to the fact that I don't like so much that it's like very dark and stuff, even like the bridges, I find like the bridges are very dark. I would like everything to be a bit more, like illuminated. But like in contrast to that, I applaud like the visual effects, and I applaud the general aesthetic of like the ships and the sets, because they look absolutely wonderful, stunning. They're clearly marrying like a kind of like earlier vibe, the TOS film like vibe, with like this new thing, and I think it looks great. So I just wish that they turned up the lights a bit and we could see them a bit better. My eyes probably aren't as good as yours.
Do you agree
I can't
that
be seeing all them colors, so
you can just turn up the brightness on your monitor, you'll be fine. But do you think that like at least the ships though, do we all agree that the ships do look pretty astounding? Like, at least the Titan, it was well lit, like on the outside, like they did a slow, nice.
It's an
like,
ugly ship.
Beauty.
But
well, you think so? I think it's
the scenes are well
done.
done.
But it's okay.
Doesn't it look very Discovery? Dude, it looks like Discovery to me.
No, it looks like the Enterprise to me, like the refit, but mixed with the Enterprise C, and also a little bit of like maybe the Enterprise. I don't know. D.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about like the inside of the ship, like, and like what the bridge looks like, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
like
the designs and stuff,
like the lighting
don't vary that much.
It's because the lighting is doing a lot. I think that they have designed like the seats and the consoles to look, closer to TNG than to Discovery, but the way that they've lit everything, with kind of like, I guess, like the neon lights, and like the way that everything's dark and kind of like backlit like that, it creates this Discovery kind of effect.
That's the cinematic nature of like how they just photograph things now. Everything, it's the nautical, like submarine kind of feel, like the darkness or the low light of a submarine command room or something like that. That's what it feels like to me, and the nautical sound effects and stuff like that, and the whistle, and
that's fun.
I gotta say, there's one caption that's at the beginning that says "in the 25th century," which is a callback to Wrath of Khan,
right?
In the 23rd century. That is not on Crave. It just says a CBS studio production, nothing, and then the shot of the nebula. There is no caption. That's the second time the Canadian version has excluded a caption from a a Star Trek TV show. The first time was a Lower Decks episode. In America, it said so many weeks or whatever later. And it was completely missing in the version on Crave. So I would have liked to have seen that. That's one of the things I got a little bit annoyed with. Like, really? Why? I think it's like other countries may just automatically know it's the 25th century by now, because 150 years after Frontier Day or the 150th anniversary of the Enterprise NX launch was April 12th, 2251. So this would be 100. So what the year would be 2401, right?
Well, yeah, it is 2401. Regardless, it's part of the show. It's a shot in the show. Put it in.
I think it's.
But that's what I'm saying. Like they assume the Canadian audience just knows like.
Yeah, when
let's not put in the 25th century. It may insult their intelligence.
They take away words. They're like the Canadian audience. They can't read. Let's just not put captions.
What's going on with that?
It's fine.
They need to look into that, my friend.
Did you guys have the four? You did, because Toddy screenshotted it. But it's interesting. They had the dedication to Annie Wershing at the end.
That was nice.
In the theater, they had it at the beginning, which was nice too.
I've never watched all the credits like that before at the end of a Star Trek show. They're doing it Marvel style now, where there's stuff to look at.
Right, and also
and the music
it's
is
smart
awesome.
So that we don't get spoiled on who the guest stars are, right, PJ? Like, that's been one of the biggest complaints, I think, is that like if you have your credits in the front, you know Jonathan Frakes is on this episode, you know so-and-so is on this episode. So it's good
we kind of it's ironic that they've chosen to do this when we already know that everyone's going to be in the show.
No, but you don't know who else, because Terry Matalas on the Ready Room said there's a lot of unannounced people, and they wanted to save. He and Will Wheaton got really excited about something that they were like, yeah, we didn't want we've kept this under wraps, and like, so there's something else. There's a lot of things, I feel.
Do you like that they use the first contact score at the end?
I do, and that they honor, and in the beginning they honor the Picard theme as well with that little.
And then they flush the rest down the toilet. They're like, let's never. Never go back.
Nice transition into Dave Lowe in the audience. Hello, Dave. Says, may I just say the music? And I have to agree. Like, at first viewing, I was like, oh, like there's a lot of rehashes of familiar themes. But when I listen to it, like you hear, you do hear. I know his handle, composer Barton. Christopher Barton. Like, you do hear his own kind of like influence in those themes too, because even like when Seven when they ask her to pilot Titan out of Space Dock, there's a lot of familiar stuff, but it like transitions into that beautiful Titan theme, and it's just so good. And I have a feeling we're gonna hear a lot more of that. But there's other things too, which I can't get into, but in the second episode there's a cue that he does which is pretty extraordinary as well.
This is a nitpick.
The music's really good. Go ahead.
But 1/4 impulse isn't that slow, is it? I thought it was like kind of fast.
Yeah, but I think that's a nod to
it's just
thrusters.
It's only thrusters only in Space Dock.
Yeah, thrusters only. Well, in Space Dock.
Don't mess around.
Very good.
Speed
very
limits.
Good, Valeris. But you know, Captain Kirk liked to haul ass out of there, so I guess it's a tradition now, or you know, for whatever reason, Seven also does 1/4 impulse out of there.
Can I say something a bit odd about the visual effects?
Yes. You can say something odd about anything you want to on the show.
I feel like that they could have made the ships and the stations more photorealistic than what they are, but they chose to not do that, so that it aesthetically matches like the tone and the vibe of like the films that we had. Because like if you compare like the ships and the stations, like there are scenes where they overlap with like the planets look real. It looks like you went out there and filmed a planet from space, but the ships and the stations do not, but they match and vibe like an older Star Trek aesthetic, and I think that's done on purpose. I think that's a creative decision. Even if it's not, it turns out to be really, really good, and I really like it. So I don't know if you guys agree, noticed, or don't care.
The visual effects, because I watch it on Crave, and I know the Paramount Plus version, which won't be on the Canadian version for like I don't know how long. It takes a while for newer Trek to go on there in Canada for some reason, but the quality is it's just the quality makes the effects look so much better. And in this episode on Crave, it's like, it's okay. It's like a little less than full HD to me. There's a lot of so effects, I can never really judge them, but some of it looks very hazy and kind of lens flary and blurry, and other parts like the disintegration of the building, and then the portal that sends all the debris into it. I was like, whoa, that was like a major kick in the nuts. And Rafi's horror I love that part. This stuff looks good. People say it's very well lit. I think it's probably a bit overlit. When it comes out, it's like it looks a bit too gray and bright, I guess. But that's just a nitpick. I think they're doing what they can with the TV budget.
It's just because you're used to every ship being super dark the last 5 years. And so you're like, oh.
Out of all the new Trek shows, Discovery has come to have the best and most crisp visual effects of them all. And I think every other show, like Picard season 1 had pretty damn good effects, and then season 2 didn't use a hell of a lot. Actually, some of those effects weren't very good at all. But this is like a good in between. Like they're trying.
These two doors here to me seem a little video game-ish. Like they seem a little rendered. Right. It's not photorealistic, right? Like this doesn't look like it's
but it
actually
metal. It never
built.
has been. Like you can't call something like this photorealistic per se. There's always going to be a bit of uncanny valley in it because you're always going to think like, oh yeah, this is not real. And it looks way better than the last time we saw it, which is on TNG, or when was the last time we saw Earth Space Dock? It was this style of space dock.
Those were models. Those look very good. Those look 100% photorealistic because they were like physical things.
This looks almost the same to me. I mean, I don't know.
Just saying, in the back of your mind, you know the difference. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's all.
I mean, I know everything's CG.
So instead of going that. Like Uncanny Valley, I guess, applies more to people than it does to stations. But to follow like what you're saying, instead of trying your hardest to render something that ultimately you'll never make it like flawless, I think that actually going down a specific kind of like art style to trying to recreate the vibe that you were getting from those films was like a better decision, because ultimately it makes it like this feels the most Star Trek of anything I've seen in years.
The visual canon is just like, whew, it's not only in your face and not in a bad way. Like the amount of references to not only TNG episodes, but it reminds you, like stuff was reminding me of Gambit. Like the stuff with Raffi reminded me of Gambit. Also, the whole thing about the fake inspection. It was much like when the tall Klingon Data was in command, and they're trying to search this Klingon shuttle, and then Worf suggests, how about we like fake an inspection, and Beverly and Worf actually like faking it, and the Klingon dude isn't buying it for a second. He pours the wine in disrespect and all this. It's much like Captain Shaw. I think when you first meet him when he's eating dinner, he's already like, his suspicions are just, it's like this doesn't add up. It's
but too he's really legendary.
Okay. I think for good reason. And I think you're going to find that he has a character arc, and you're going to end up liking him if they don't kill him off too soon.
Okay, so do people dislike him after episode 1?
I think I like him. I think he's a great character.
Because he is rude. I agree with you. He's rude and he's kind of a dick about things, but everything he says and does is 100% correct.
That's
in episode 1, he's completely right, and he's right about everything. But he's rude about
there's a way to be right.
I agree.
What he says
there's a way to be right.
He says your reputation. He starts eating, and he's like, your reputation, like, preceded
that was
you,
very
so
impolite.
They're like, here's some wine. He's like, I know. I
also,
like that. I don't like that wine.
But that was
and he was about to. He was also about to
shenanigans. He knows.
He was also about to let out his true feelings about the Borg, and then Riker stops him, and he's like, "That's enough."
Yeah.
By the way, I did like that the steak was green. Whatever he was eating was green. I appreciated that as a callback to.
But he's making Seven use the designation Hansen instead of Seven, and that gets to her. Either. She doesn't like that, and
wife said he's correct about that. That was interesting, actually, because wife said that's her name.
And he could indeed also. He clearly has a prejudice against Picard because of his thing with the Borg. That's also going to come into play this season. I feel like Best of Both Worlds has something to do with this. And I think he's justified. He is forgive the language, he's a prick. Clearly. But I don't think you're meant to hate him yet. I don't think so. Because obviously what's going to happen next episode, I don't know. You know, Starfleet Boy. You won't say, obviously.
I won't say.
You won't. But I assume that as an ethical captain, he'd be like, well, these two old dudes got themselves into a bind. I guess I better he's not going to be like, screw them and fly off. Even though he's pissed at Seven and the two guys he needs to save. Unless they somehow get out of it without being saved. But I don't know. They're coming up against a pretty big ship.
It is also cool to see what the chain of command is like. It's neat to see that a sitting captain kind of outranks an admiral. And
Retired
a
retired
admiral, yeah. But also Riker tries to he's like, I'm a captain, and he's like, yeah, but you don't have a seat. Like, you don't have a command right now.
This ain't your ship. That makes sense.
Yeah, this ain't your ship. So that was neat. And also, I think it's a good reminder. I think it's an interesting character because the biggest thing over the years I've had to kind of find ways to cleverly defend is the lack of quote unquote chain of command in the Star Trek. And I'm always like, it's not the military. It's just, you can't think of it like the military. That's my most solid argument.
Well, it's not a pillow party either. So,
right. Yeah, exactly. But here, Terry Matalas is definitely taking it back to the Nick Meyer naval influence. And it looks like they're sticking very closely to these things, and you see it not just in the writing or in the dialogue, but also in kind of the actions. And you know what I have to say, even though I'm still on that camp about Starfleet is not the military or the Navy or whatever, it is kind of nice. It does give you a sense of understanding of what's going on in a different way. Braxton, what did you think of all the military protocols? Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, that being said, what does Seven do? She commits mutiny.
She does
commit. They should send Sean to Starbase 80 to straighten it out.
She does commit.
But to her credit, she does state in the episode she doesn't like this stuff. She doesn't like being here. She doesn't know why she's there. So clearly, she's on the edge of breaking the rules anyway. And it's Picard and Riker, so there you go.
Dude, I loved it when Picard was like, "Oh yeah, we're going to Starbase 4." And dude was like, "Oh, Starbase 4's been closed for 2 years."
They're so obvious, right?
Seven, it's got to be tough too, because Seven clearly, yeah, that was pretty funny. Seven clearly loves Jean-Luc and has a loyalty. I mean, they've gone through time together, they've had a crazy adventure. So she's trying to defend him, and Shaw calls her out on it too. He's all like, "Your loyalty lies with the Titan, with this ship." I love that. Braxton,
not with your friends, dude.
Not with your friends. What did you think of the military stuff, the naval stuff, Braxton? Because I know you like that kind of stuff.
So I felt two ways. I did feel like Seven of Nine should have been using her name instead of going by Seven or Seven of Nine or whatever. I always thought she should have been Annika Hansen. But at the same time, I feel like now, we are becoming more comfortable with letting people, with people's chosen identities and chosen names. So that far into the future, I would imagine that people would be comfortable with people's chosen names based on their experience. I feel like, Seven of Nine is trans in a way,
Right. Our friend Jesse Gender points out that it's very similar to the idea of dead naming, which is something that is really rude when you're talking to a trans person. So yeah, the way Seven reacts to it, it's very similar to how someone might react if they were dead named. Meaning,
but you know what, dude? I cannot believe it is just impossible for me to believe that the Seven of Nine that we saw in the first 2 seasons of Picard would be a slave to this man, and hate.
But Braxton, going back to the chain of command, she's accepted a Starfleet commission. She's a commander. He's her captain. it's not about accepting. Like they do clearly have like not a great relationship because she's obviously not comfortable challenging him.
She
But
was on the verge
that
of being
being,
fired. You know what I mean? That's what it seems
yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she
It
wasn't
looks like she
happy.
does. She does seem to. She does seem to at
It's
least.
worrying that you can't ask for a transfer before it gets to that like point though. It's like, can you just like remove me from this ship, please? You
Dude,
know what I mean? Unless you even like want to go and do an investigation on the dude, but maybe he fills out all his reports correctly. Maybe he does everything by the book, so much so that it's grueling for the crew. But like at least Starfleet's happy. But
Toddy,
then
it's
like
not her fault. It's just bad storytelling. Don't blame
I
her.
think Shaw's hard ass, like unlikable personality. Like he's kind of a Jellicoe type, where he's like do things my way or the highway type of thing. That's refreshing because it gives the other characters a foil. And better yet, if he can overcome his ignorance and be like, you know what, I should have never told you have to use Hansen. If you were comfortable using Seven, I should have, if he ever gets to that point, if he doesn't get killed off or something. But I don't want, at this point, them to set up a character we're meant to say, oh, screw this guy, and haha when he dies. I don't want that. I want him, at least, if he dies ever, to have an arc where, like, he's, he goes through the journey with our characters, and he learns to become a better person, like in the old Star Trek way, Anyway, there you go.
Yeah.
Jill
But I
says
I
Shaw's
did
appearance doesn't matter.
appreciate.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I did appreciate the like the command kind of stuff, like when he was kind of like, taking the dudes down a notch. He's like, "Oh yeah, like I'm a admiral," and he's like, "Oh, a retired admiral." And then dude was like, "Oh, I'm a captain." He's like, "Oh, a captain with no ship."
He lays it on a bit thick, though, doesn't he? They're like,
like-
here's a bottle of wine. He's like, I prefer some other kind of wine. It's like,
Yeah, that dude is. But yeah, hopefully he'll actually turn out to be a good character. I think that they just gave us like a taste of his like personality, but I feel like he's gonna prove his mettle when things heat up next episode.
it's
But that
entirely
kinda-
possible to be like a good captain and yet like not a very good person on like a personal level.
Not likable.
I would say that Picard is kind of the same way. Picard is a way better captain than he is a person.
Nice. Yeah, it's true. Well, he and in the beginning he was very hard. He was very kind of a hard ass. Like he might have actually done the same thing Shaw did.
Yeah.
If it was
Now
like,
I think they've flipped it. Now I think Picard he's a better person than he is like a retired admiral.
well, he's
right?
grown.
Like,
We see
but-
that. Like, but you go ahead, PJ.
And I was going to say that's a good point because think about Picard season 1. If
Oh, yeah.
two
Dreadful.
famous admirals and a captain was like surprise
off
inspection,
my
and they're
ship.
like they don't know where they're going. Like this starbase, well that starbase is close. Picard would see through that. He would be suspicious first off before he even met them. Then when they start getting on with their crap, Picard would see through that. So Captain Shaw is like that old school kind of like by the book captain, and you have to assume that most captains in the Star Trek world are like Shaw, not necessarily like mean, but very by the book. And the stuff we've seen
trust issues. Too.
are captains in extraordinary situations where they have no other choice but to break the rules, or they're stuck in the Delta Quadrant and like all the rules are out the window type of thing. But yes,
Well, I want to give
like,
a shout out.
I like
to,
how he's.
Oh,
very,
go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was done. Sorry.
No, finish that thought. I like what you're saying.
I'm saying it probably won't be worth it for me if he turns out to be some jerk who dies. I need
I have a feeling
need to do
he'll be
more
all
with
right.
him. Yeah,
I have a feeling.
Hopefully.
So I know that. By the way, shout out to Todd Stashwick. He's a huge fan of Star Trek, and he posted this really kind of touching memory of his cousin Tori, who introduced him to like science fiction and Star Trek especially, and kind of unfortunately his cousin passed away, so he like kind of dedicated today's premiere and the excitement around it to him, and I thought that was really cool. But I didn't know this till recently, but Todd Stashwick has been in Star Trek before. He was on Enterprise. He played a Vulcan masquerading to be a Romulan, and of course he's in one of my favorite shows, 12 Monkeys, and he's amazing. He plays this character named Deacon.
So we've had both
he's
Deacon
also
and
in the-
Negan in Enterprise.
He's also in the 12th season. No, he's also in the 7th season of Curb Your Enthusiasm as the head of NBC.
Oh, he's in Forspoken as well. The new game that came out on PS5 2 weeks ago.
He's been
He's
around
also
for
a
a
huge
while.
D&D. Yeah, he's a D&Der. Like he's a big nerd, but he's like this big, imposing looking guy. So a lot of people don't realize he's like a nerd right away. But yeah, he's a big nerd. He was so.
Oh,
much
was he really
fun.
tall, dude?
He's very tall. He was so much fun at the premiere. He was like signing his name on the Titan, like saying "my ship," and then he would like. I think Jonathan Frakes also signed on the Titan, and he was like, "Nope, my ship." And he was like, so he's very cool. It's really great to. It's regardless of what the character is like, he's a great person. So I'm excited to see, and it's a good flex. Like he's always able to play these characters that, you know. I don't think Deacon's very likable right away either, so maybe there's going to be some
I
similarities.
don't think he'd do
with
very
it.
well on a red carpet.
The chat
What's
is
that?
bringing up some good.
He wouldn't do well on a red carpet.
No, I don't think so. Let's see here.
Todd Stashwick is 6'2".
Jill saying about Captain Shaw, I never saw such a miserable group in Starfleet that wasn't in a long battle or something like that. About the Titan crew. They don't seem miserable to me.
We didn't
but they
see
do
too
seem
much
like,
of them. Come on, like we didn't
They-
get to.
Yeah, they didn't seem miserable to me, but they do seem like they're not having a blast. Either.
Well, they're not
Like-
relaxed. Let's put
Right,
it
they're
that
not
way,
relaxed.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't the Cerritos.
It's not the street.
It's probably a tense ship with that kind of captain, you know? It's like
Yeah, it's true.
not a lot of jokes.
But he's got
being-
his own flaws too. I mean, the guy's getting, you know, he. Someone pointed out it was Linda, I think. Yeah, he's dead naming Seven and racist towards XBs because he does start to say something about XBs in that. So I mean, we don't know what he was gonna say exactly, but yeah, he's very mean in that scene.
Throughout Trek history, it's like at one point a lot of Starfleet officers had problems with Romulans. At another point,
That's
a lot
true.
of them had problems with Cardassians and Klingons and so on and so forth. So there's always
Picardis.
generations that face this huge enemy that's killed a bunch of people, probably people you know, where you have this, you hold on to this like resentment. And in this TNG era, the Borg would definitely be that in place of the Romulans or the Klingons in the earlier eras. As like, even in the second season, when they talked about having Borg tech on the ship, which coincidentally allowed the Borg to hack them so easily. But people were like hesitant about that then. It's like, oh, I don't know, this could be used against us, and like they don't. And it's like the XBs in the past few years have been completely what do you call that? Rehabilitated or what's the word they used?
They've been
It was a specific,
unassimilated, I guess.
Something like that.
Unassimilated. Like yeah, I know what you mean though.
Reintegrated?
Reintegrated, I
So,
guess.
maybe
yeah.
that sounds like they're coming out of penal colony.
So there's probably a lot of those people, citizens,
Reclaimed, I think maybe that's it.
There's probably a lot of XBs who have like visual scars that people are like, oh, I don't know about you because you could still be a Borg or something. Like there's that kind of like
it would kind of
prejudice
piss
still
me
around
off.
here. Not everybody, but you know, it's here and there. Like in any society, there's fear of the unknown, and it's gonna take a while for that era to like fully get over that. Much
would-
like nobody
That
cares.
makes sense,
Nobody.
yeah.
We're friends with Klingons and Romulans at this point. So
It's
about a world where we're
unfortunate,
friends with
but it makes
Borg?
sense.
there
Yeah.
is good.
It pisses me off
There is good
to,
Borg now in the universe. By the way,
To
Alice
be
Girardi's
considered an
Borg.
XB. It would kind of
Just
piss me
good-
off to be considered an XB constantly, though.
But there's good Borg now. I wonder what they're gonna do with them. They're probably never gonna address it in this season. But benevolent Borg are now out there in the universe in the 25th century.
Yeah, and they're guarding the gate.
Well, they were
wherever
already
that
out
gate
there
is.
during Voyager, anyway.
Oh yeah, they were there the whole
Picard,
time.
Picard forgot about it.
Yeah,
but
they were there the whole
They
time.
were already there.
They were there the whole time.
Oh, look at this. We have a special guest star here.
Hey,
It's
guys.
Marcelo. Hey,
Hey,
nice to see you,
Marcelo.
Hey, Braxton.
How's
Hey,
it going?
PJ. Hey, Trek on the Tube. How are you?
Were you listening to
How
our
you doing?
conversation, Marcelo?
No, I just happened to
Oh,
I
then
just
you don't know
happened
what
to-
we've been talking about? You're going to repeat yourself and stuff like that?
No,
You're
no,
gonna repeat
actually,
stuff
no,
that we
no.
talked about.
No, I just, I just was on YouTube for whatever reason. I saw you guys going live, and I was like, hey, I just want to stop by to say hey.
Oh,
And
well, what did you think? Overall thoughts on Picard episode 1?
Yeah, I was really, really pleasantly surprised with it. The thing that I liked about it from up front was right from the start, it had this TNG feel to it, from the credits to the lettering to it just had this overall feel that the other seasons of Picard didn't have. And I really like the relationship, or I really like the characterization for Riker and Picard, and I really like their idea of wanting to hijack the Titan. But I was like, really, guys, you kind of didn't think this thing through, because I was like, really, your plan is to hijack the Titan? How is that going to work? So,
Well, it does, we see it. We see how it works. and
Yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't
so,
really
but-
work that well, but it does
yes,
kind of work out.
but,
anyways.
but I was like, but but going into that, I was like, the new captain of the Titan's probably not going to let you, hijack his ship, which you didn't. So I was like, But I
Does
really
Seven
really,
get thrown in the brig for the mutiny?
Oh
I
no!
knew it.
Oh no! Oh no! Absolutely not. She's 7.
Does it? Oh, you get.
Anybody
Seven
else?
gets a pass.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Anybody else in the brig? But 7
Let's-
does not get a pass. 7 absolutely does not get a pass.
We don't want to stay too long. We try to keep these discussions at an hour. Stick around, Marcel. But I just want to talk really quickly about Beverly Crusher and get your thoughts on the character being the first person we see in the
Oh,
show.
great.
The Elios, the whole state of like what Beverly's been doing with this like Doctors Without Borders kind of lifestyle, and what your theories might be on why she's just kind of cut everyone off and hasn't been around. Is it because of this son, or is it something else you guys think? So why don't you go first, Marcel, since you popped in?
Yeah, I know. I first of all, I love the fact that the show, this episode or this final season started with Beverly, because going in, Terry Metalis said from the get-go, he said, I'm finally going to give Beverly Crusher her due, and she's finally going to get a big piece of meat to bite off as far as from a creative standpoint. So I love the fact that this story sort of centers around Beverly and what she's done and her whole Doctors Without Borders thing. But I think the reason why Beverly sort of blocked everybody off or sort of disconnected herself from her TNG crew, I think that was for a very specific reason, and I don't think that we're gonna find it. I don't think that we're gonna find that out until possibly the very end of the end of the season, and the reason why I think it has to be astronomical. I don't think that it's something that she would. I don't think that it's something that she would have done lightly. I think it's something that she thought she had to do for a specific reason that we don't know yet.
I hope that like the boy, or like not the boy, but the man shares a memory. He would say, "Oh, like my mom used to tell me that I was so much better than her other son."
What the fuck?
Oh my god!
Real quick reminder, this
good.
is an initial reaction video and not a detailed review, although we all love Star Trek, so we'll probably get into the nitty gritty. But tomorrow on Text Trek, they will do a deep dive with screenshots and everything. So everyone check that out at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. But anyways, carry on, PJ.
I love seeing Beverly back, and I like that she has combat. She can use a rifle. However, she happens just to have the worst Starfleet rifles, or rifles period, I've ever seen in Star Trek, where you've got to cock the thing to shoot it every time.
Yeah, that's
on
ridiculous.
top of the fact that boom, 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 charge is gone. Weapon is
way-
completely useless unless you change the power cell. She gets shot trying to grab another gun.
Oh,
No. That one part of the episode, I was like, no.
But it made
No.
you nervous for her, right? Like all the fidgeting and like, is she gonna get hurt? You know
Yeah.
what she does. But I have a question. Why do you even
There's
need
better
to, like,
weapons in the
why
21st
do you
century.
even-
Come on.
Why do you even need to cock a phaser
It's so
rifle? Isn't it just
You
buttons?
shouldn't have
like, You
to.
just like
She
push
cocks it
buttons,
twice
right?
to disintegrate the dude, as
I
if to
like it,
charge
but
it
it's like,
more.
why?
And it's like, shouldn't it just be like a little flip of the thumb, or the just different settings that you can just automatic, and
No.
to shoot it a few times, and then for the power cell to be completely depleted. It's like, How much power is that thing really
it's
using?
It's on those science and medical ships. They get the shit phases because
They get the shit phases.
Well, so the Ilios is not even a registered. Did you notice it had the NAR? It's not a Federation starship anymore. It was once, but it's kind of like, it's like, you know how you can buy Russian tanks or like jets, like
Wait a
from
minute,
the
you can?
military
Can you?
surplus? Yeah, you 100%.
Really?
You
I
can
want to buy a
tank.
jet. I want.
You can
I'm
buy a
gonna
jet
go buy a
too.
tank.
Yeah, I think Michael Dorn has one. If I'm
What?
not mistaken, I could have sworn he says he has
Are you
like
serious?
a jet. Like, yeah, or
think he
he's
does,
had
yes.
one in the past. Yeah,
Oh,
but,
yeah, he's had one.
but so I imagine that like when Beverly decided to go, you know, off Starfleet's orders, that she acquired this ship and turned Ilios into a kind of like Doctors Without Borders kind of ship. So it's her like personal craft that was once a Starfleet ship. So Dave Lowe is saying that NAR is for support ships, but I think the NAR was also the registry of the La Serena, and I don't think it had anything to do with the Federation or whatnot.
Yeah, over or under that kid that Beverly seems to have that came out of nowhere is Jean-Luc's kid. Over or under.
Yeah, let's talk about. So that's what you think, right?
no. Please no.
There's folks in the audience. I forget. I think it was Linda, who's like, no.
yeah.
Braxton said he doesn't want that. Like,
Well,
what
it
about
is.
you?
Let's just deal with it. Bloody deal with it now because it is
Listen.
his son, guaranteed.
Beverly Crusher would not have a baby by Luke Picard and not tell him for 30 years.
You
Why?
would think so, wouldn't you? You would think
Yeah,
so.
you would think so.
Sometimes
She
she
simply would
doesn't
do it.
respect alien
Like, you know what,
cultures.
dude?
It's a bit weird like that.
If it happens, dude, I cannot be held responsible for what I might do.
Oh my God, it's gonna happen.
Dude,
Even-
for real,
even-
I'm serious, dude. I can't be held responsible.
Do you remember the first? You remember the first trailer that introduced this character, Jack Crusher?
Yes.
Didn't say who he was. How many people when that trailer came out were like, "Son, Picard Beverly's son," and it seemed like so obvious that of course they wouldn't do that. I mean, if we're guessing so soon, then it couldn't possibly be that. It seems to be that, like sands through
It's
the
gonna be
hourglass.
that.
So are the days of Picard. I swear to God. The dude, he looks like Patrick Stewart. He doesn't even look like Beverly.
I can't even
Also-
comment on it because
You can't
I
comment on it.
know the answer, so I can't even say what I feel. But I
I
will
think
just
we all know
say,
the answer, though.
yeah, but I'll just say it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see what Braxton does if that's the case.
Yeah,
I do know a few people who don't like that at all. It's too.
Well, see
corny.
where they go
It's
with
too
it.
corny.
What do they do with it?
And why would Beverly keep that a secret? I think the reason may be to
That's the
protect him from harm.
Sorry, guys.
Maybe to protect him from harm. There you
That's
go.
a good reason.
What were you
that's a good
saying,
reason.
Sean? I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, I guess I'll just wait till the end of like the show or the end of that specific story arc, and see where they go with it, what they do with it. Like, I'm not opposed to it. I literally do not give a shit. I don't care. I have no cares
care.
whatsoever.
Who the kid is?
I don't
Yeah,
care.
The guy?
There's no emotion, up or down, in regards to like who this guy belongs to. I don't
Yeah,
care.
well,
I'll be
I
able
think
to
he's- I think
comment
he's
on
evil,
this.
I think
I'll
he's
be able to
secretly
comment
evil.
on this after episode 2 because that's how many I've seen.
I
so.
think he's going to turn out to be Shinzon number 2.
Oh my God.
By the way,
Shin-
Cake is
Shin-Sun.
Eternal. Thank you. Michael Dorn has owned several jet aircraft: a Lockheed T-33 Shooting Star, which he jokingly
Okay.
refers to as a starship, a North American F-86 Sabre, and currently owns a North American Sabre liner. So wow, nice, Michael Dorn. But
Also-
go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, Braxton. But also, I want to point out that I loved the fact that, like I said at the beginning, the fact that this episode didn't have a traditional opening credit sequence, and that all the opening credits were at the end, and the fact that Terry Metalis used Giacchino's or Jerry Goldsmith's score from First Contact just had me on the floor crying hysterically. I lost my mind. Like I love his nods to TNG, and it makes sense because this whole series is about TNG. So I just love it. Like,
Does anybody think they went overboard with the nostalgia?
Oh,
And,
no, I
and
don't
the
think
Easter
so.
eggs.
I don't
No.
think they went
Considering
overboard
this
at all.
is
I
going
think
to be like the final hurrah for like TNG, like
Like
we
the
will
flutes there and everything.
we will
Oh.
see a few characters come back, I think, in like Prodigy and Lower Decks and what have you. But this is like the end of the line, basically, for like
TNG.
not only that, it
TNG.
kind of
So
like
I feel like it's fine. They can
to me
go
they
a bit
all
overboard
kind of
with
made
it.
sense. Like it makes sense they're doing spring cleaning that Jean-Luc would have his shit out, and like he probably keeps the flute
Perfect
like,
excuse
by
for
his-
it.
yeah, like by his desk or whatever. In the beginning, like on Crusher's ship, like there's all these kinds of like references to the past, like which I was very intrigued by the fact that either she or her son are listening to logs by Jean-Luc. So I wonder if that's how he got his accent.
Wow,
know,
that's
like-
not a bad theory.
That,
Like,
that
this-
actually,
this is
that
your-
is
this is
the
what your
one
father
explanation
sounded
I will
like.
accept.
Yeah.
The one
So
explanation
yeah,
I will
listen to all
accept.
these logs. I don't know, like there was that. So there's a lot of little things here and there, but it didn't feel like too. Was there an Easter egg that you felt was like hitting you over the head on this? I don't think so.
Someone
right?
in the chat pointed out that chat was. Someone in the chat pointed out that the score. I'm missing the comment now, but it's too, like there's too nostalgic. It was too familiar throughout. And I
loved
felt that a bit, but I didn't mind it at the same time. I don't want to hear familiar things throughout the whole thing. I want them to change it up, be more original. The Titan theme is good. It sounds very Star Trekky, but it's not.
There's also, by the way,
It's
Stephen Barton's not just referencing stuff from TNG. Rafi gets her theme, like that dun 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 theme. That's in there too. So
I'm
he's
gonna
also
do drugs
referencing stuff
again.
from
I'm gonna do
previous.
drugs
Yeah.
drugs
Damn,
again.
dude.
What did you guys? What did you guys
Well, yeah.
think? A lot of people were worried about the Laris and Jean-Luc thing. I just want, since we're talking about Beverly, and we're talking about romances and stuff like that. What did you guys think of including Laris, like, and like having their relationship? Toddy's like, I don't care, but I thought it was really cool that like,
They pulled the Fast and Furious on that shit.
what is that? What is
What do you
that? I
mean?
don't know the Fast and Furious well.
Dominic Toretto has a girlfriend for like 4 films, and then she dies. But then
that's
they
right.
retcon that she doesn't die.
They pulled a
and
they pulled a
because he has
they
another
pulled a
girlfriend.
Lenny.
Yeah,
They pulled a
But
Lenny.
she didn't die.
Liddy,
she never
Liddy, I think.
died.
No, she
Liddy,
never
yeah.
died, but she did die. But then they decided to not die, to undie her because she said she'd
Yeah.
come back. So then
And
they
then
had
she
to
came
get rid
back.
of his current wife, and then she just
Oh,
basically
I see
there's
what
like a
you
line
mean.
of dialogue where the current wife is like, "Okay, bye," and then she just leaves, and then so Letty
Yeah.
comes back, and so this is the same thing. It's like they never thought Beverly, like Gates McFadden, would come back, so they were like, "Let's go, Laris," and Gates McFadden's like, "Okay, I'll come back," and they're like, "Okay, Laris, you gotta leave."
I'm gonna leave.
Our good friend Mick Jost is in the audience. Everyone go check him out on Cineblend. And check out his Twitter. It's the same name. And it's like he's got great articles and he gets all the good
I would
scoops and
actually
interviews and stuff
like
like that.
Picard to go help Beverly, and then come home to Laris.
To Laris.
You
I
would
think
hate
that'll
that.
happen.
That would kill you.
I think that
But
makes
I like-
actually more narrative sense.
Yeah.
Because he's tried with Beverly and it didn't
No,
work. And then even
screw
in
it.
the other timeline, we see in All Good Things, in that timeline, they got married and that didn't work.
And the
So
kid
maybe
is
it just
so
never will
evil.
work between them.
This
But I like that
son-
they incorporate Laris at the beginning, and there's it even like I don't know what it is. It must be different writing staff or something. Her dialogue between two of them, none of it felt hokey
So
or
much
sappy.
better.
You felt like they were boyfriend and girlfriend, and she gives him a kiss. And as that person pointed out, she wasn't at all threatened by the fact that he's
Yeah,
going to help his ex.
Mick.
Or is
Girlfriend.
sort of
Girlfriend
ex.
and girlfriend.
I mean,
And in
he,
fact,
he
she
knocked
even
her up.
pulls out
but,
her Tal Shiar, like, intelligence, like, brain and starts
Yeah.
to help him analyze what's going on and see kind of like the severity of it. So that was cool too.
Maybe the son is
Ivan-
so evil he's gonna kill Beverly.
I agree with
Oh my
Sean. He,
God.
he should go home to Laris at the end.
And
I
then
don't think she should be-
And so Picard in his last act kills the son too.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Laris is another example of a woman in this show who only exists to serve the story of a man. I don't
As
like
long
it.
as, as long as
Wow.
no one gets hanged, right?
Please no
I-
hangings. Please no
I'm
hangings.
really surprised by you guys' takes on the women on the show, because now that I'm thinking about it, it's like the women feel like they're pretty, I don't know. I don't feel like they're sidelined at all or like or fridged. I I mean, it's only one episode. We'll have
Yeah.
to readdress this in episode.
No, well,
5
I
and
mean, in this
see.
episode specifically, but I think Picard, generally speaking, has done a very, like, regardless of what I think of, like, the quality of the show in the previous seasons, I think that the show has done a very good job with, like, women, and especially, like, women kind of, like, a little older, too.
I trust Gates McFadden when she says she's been given like the role of her lifetime in this season. Like this is what she's always wanted to aspire the character to be, whatever that
That's
is.
what
We know she's going to be okay, and she's going to be in the rest of the season. That's not even a spoiler. She's in the trailer. She's all sitting with everybody else. So like when I'm curious to know what her part is in this whole thing, and like how she is very vital because, I mean, they're hunting her or her son or both of them for a very specific reason. The fact that they sent only 2 guys over, they were seriously underestimating. That was a little bit, and the pump action
It's dumb.
squirt gun type phaser. No,
It's dumb.
So I'm going to ask a really stupid question, because I feel like either this is really obvious, either one way or the other, but is the, like, terrorist attack and everything that Rafi's dealing with, is that directly related to, like, this, the ship, the enemy ship, and the enemy
the Shrike.
yeah, and all of that
Yeah.
we're
It's-
seeing
I-
in
I
the
would-
trailers?
I would bet yes.
Okay.
They like they're cutting between Raffi's story, which seemingly is unrelated, but I think maybe down the line we're going to find out that the
Okay.
ship at the end and that is connected somehow.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
remember,
actually, but-
remember when Riker and Picard? Sorry, remember when Riker and Picard were in the bar and they left? There was that dude who was
Oh,
like
yeah.
checking them out. He's got to come back somehow. So
By the way, I'm going to stop saying that I'm fat. I'm now Galaxy class.
Ah, dude, I love it.
I see.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah,
Would you
that's
guys? I want to touch on Riker again real quickly. I know we talked a little bit more about him, but any deep thoughts, deeper dives on Riker before we switch to?
Yes,
You know, we sort of
Riker
wrap
is
up.
still awesome, and you know why Riker is still awesome? Because he can go into a room, he can complain about his age, and still look like a badass.
He does look great in the show. it's true.
He just looks so good. But I also really like I mentioned before, I think Terry Metalis, and granted, I'm the biggest Terry Metalis guy here on the panel.
No,
But
you're not.
oh
But
well,
go
well,
ahead.
fine. I'll take
that's
that. I'll
fine.
take that.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Is that real quick? Did you get a chance to meet the guy?
Yes.
Oh, good. Anyway, I love the way that Terry has Riker and Picard interacting this episode. Like my favorite moment is when they board Beverly's ship and Riker for a split second forgets that Picard is Admiral Picard and he calls him Captain, and I'm like, oh yes, I love it. I love it so much.
Oh my god, Marcella is like the screenshot of is like what, like Metellus Prime? Like, is that like the screenshot?
Yeah, Metellus Prime. yeah.
By the way, that's also a reference to Enterprise, I think, or Voyager. I think there was a planet called Metellus Prime, but it was uninhabitable. So it
There was already
or
Metellus
something
Prime.
or
I
a
don't
Metellus
believe you.
system or something like that. Yeah,
They cannot
100%.
be. Really?
Oh my gosh,
one
Sean
more-
has
yeah,
to look. I
yeah,
don't.
one
How do
more
I not
thing.
know this? Why wasn't it in my Voyager?
No,
video?
One
but
more
it's
thing.
just like there's a Metellus planet or system already, and then we hired,
there's already
they hired
something.
the guy called Metellus. I mean, that's
Yeah.
anyway.
No, because it was named after him. He was a production assistant. Remember on Voyager?
Oh, that's
and-
right.
Yeah.
I have-
Nick says, I think immediately it was clear Jonathan Frakes was more
It's an
comfortable
Enterprise.
acting this season than he was in season 1 and 2. Marcelo, what were you going to say?
I just have one more thing to say about this episode. I love the L cars. I love the I love the Akuda style L cards. I thought they were awesome, and the fact that the ship that Beverly is on looks like a ship that would be in like around the Next Generation era or a little bit past that because of the L cards in that the ship has. It's like so awesome. Sorry, that's it.
Yeah, there's a lot of great attention to detail. We pointed out earlier, Marcelo, I don't know if you know this, but Jörg Hillebrand from Twitter he's a research assistant on this show,
Oh,
so he's been helping
oh,
him
yeah, that's
out
right. You
for the
talked
last
about
2 years,
Jörg.
which is pretty cool. But in addition to that, the Okudas did work on the show, and Andrew Jarvis, I already appreciated his work. It was already really great, I thought, updating the L cars to the future. So I thought that was cool that he got to work with Michael Okuda and they
Very, very
collaborated
cool.
and refined it to the Titan and all these other things. So that's pretty cool. Kevin Richardson says, "I love how Riker hasn't changed because it seems like that kind of man. He seems like that kind of man would be consistent over time. I have an uncle just like him." Yeah, that makes sense. I have an uncle just like him too. I wish Jonathan Frakes was my uncle. He's really cool. But yeah, Jonathan Frakes was nervous about reprising his role as Riker in season 1, and he said he didn't know, he hasn't acted in a long time, but yeah, he has nothing to worry about. He was fantastic. I thought he was a standout in this, and in fact, all the people who have seen the first 6 episodes of, you know how all those tweets start with, "I've seen the first 6 episodes of." Did you do a parody of that, Toddy? I thought.
I don't think I did, but that's become as much a meme as like husband being
I know.
fired now. It's
I
like,
have seen the first 6
I'm gonna do that for
episodes.
every season of like Star Trek that comes. I've seen the first 6 episodes of
I'm
Section
gonna-
31, and it ends at episode 5.
But yeah, I thought that was funny. But everyone's praising Jonathan Frakes this season, so I'm really excited to see more of him. But yeah, Riker was phenomenal. Last thing before we sign off, let's talk about Rafi and the conspiracy theory a little bit more. Oh no, wait, sorry, we did talk about that at length. We'll come back to it. But Sydney LaForge, what'd you guys think of that whole scene on the bridge and
was
meeting
cute.
Sydney and stuff like that?
Remember
Yeah.
Star Trek Generations when Kirk meets Sulu's daughter? Let's do
Ah,
Yeah,
that.
cool.
tomorrow
was
Yeah.
cute. It was cute. It's funny.
It was very cute. It had vibes of that, right?
Crash
cool.
LaForge is her nickname.
It was
Crash
cool.
LaForge.
It
Yeah,
was
that,
weird.
that was weird. That was like, I feel like Riker doing the whole thing with like the Crash LaForge, and he's like kind of like shaming her almost, or he doesn't. like,
He's
maybe
teasing
he's
her. Come on, it's not.
Yeah,
He's teasing.
I feel like he wouldn't have done that.
I mean,
Oh no, I think
This
it was
first
so
episode
Riker.
is about destroying women, so why not?
What?
This episode's
What?
about
See,
oh my
it's
god.
thematically relevant.
Braxton
for
said this
Braxton.
episode.
What?
He's just saying this episode.
Look, so
He's not
so,
saying-
so why wouldn't he
This
take a
episode is about
jab?
destroying
the-
women.
Why wouldn't
Braxton, I think
Yeah.
you should. Braxton, how many times have you watched this episode?
Why wouldn't he take a jab at a young woman who needs confidence? Why wouldn't he take a jab at? Dude, so I
Braxton.
thought that
Well-
like them coming onto the bridge, like
I
was
can't
super
wait till the
interesting.
salon.
Like,
later
In
on.
this particular
I
case,
was
we could apply that to male or female or anyone, right? Like, I think that he was. I don't know. It was a bit odd that he insisted so much on it, especially considering maybe in his eyes and in like all of the experienced officers' eyes, it's not a big deal, but for her, it is. It is a big deal. She was embarrassed about it. It was kind of a low blow.
yeah, dude.
Wow, Riker's a jerk.
I don't think that at all.
No,
Cancel.
he's-
So on the
not.
bridge, dude, like there was an alien that looked like a female changeling, and I thought that was interesting. I have to go back and look.
Was
at
that the
alien.
comment? Was that the com
Esmer, that's,
officer in the back?
That's
I think it was the
Esmer,
common
the
son.
the officer that you're talking about. I think they had the two cool little. They're a Hylian or something like that. By the way, Todd, are you gonna
Yeah.
do Hylians for your species videos? What's your next species video?
Do you remember
just
the
did the
episode
green,
Aquiel from TNG?
Yes.
With
the character's
the
the
girl
same.
from Days of Our Lives.
Right. Speaking of
That's her
soap
species.
operas. Text Trek is in the audience. We shouted you out earlier, but just a friendly reminder that tomorrow is the Text Trek deep dive, the first and deepest on the scene, with screenshots, with like
First
a
and
panel
deepest on
just
the
like this
scene.
one. But this is a reaction / initial thoughts, and that one's gonna be a deep dive.
No, Fathery will
I'm an
walk through that
understudy,
episode
so-
minute by minute.
If one of the panel doesn't come on, you'll see me again tomorrow. But otherwise, I'll be in the audience with y'all in there. So Father says, I have seen all 10 episodes and also Strange New World season 2 through 7, the fourth Kelvin show.
I'm sick
and
of
the
this early
Titan
access
spin-off
everybody's
coming in
getting.
2
Like, it's
years
so
to Rare
such
Rock.
Jesus,
bullcrap.
dude.
With-
Come on.
with Showtime. Ooh, the Titan spin-off is going to be a Showtime show? Does that mean it'll have like naughty things?
Spoiler alert. There's a good question in the chat about Riker. Why do you think he's?
Yeah, Linda's asking, why do y'all think Troy and Kestra are pissed with Riker?
Well, I said
that has
he's
been
it's
weighing
because
on
he's
my
hunted
mind.
the bunny. He's hunted the bunny corns to extinction.
Yeah.
All right, so like you got to be mad at him.
Dang.
No, yeah, no, I just think that you know that in a marriage there's a point where the wife is like, "Honey, I love you, but if you don't get the fuck out of this house, sorry, I'm gonna shoot you."
You know what I think?
So I think it's just that. Sorry about the cuss word.
She said I should have chosen Worf over you, and then he was like, "Okay,
Oh
I'm
my
out.
God.
I'm gone.
Oh,
I can't handle it."
Toddy,
He was twice the man you were. If
He
you get
literally
my
is.
drift.
He very much
Get my
is.
drift.
He's twice the man you
Oh my
are.
gosh.
But
That was a
can I
good
say?
one, PJ.
I,
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I,
say your
mentioned,
thing.
I mentioned
And the
earlier. I think Riker wants to get back into the captain's chair somewhere. He doesn't even. I don't think he wants to be an admiral. He wants to get back out there. He probably wants Troy and Kestra to come with him. He's probably He's probably sick of making bunny corn pizza. And here's the thing. We know Troy is kind of like hesitant about risk at this point in her life because
Yeah,
they've lost their son.
Both, yeah.
And she doesn't want to put. I don't think she wants to put Kestra in a situation where she's going to live on a starship and possibly get killed in some kind of battle. You know what I mean? It would be literally just too much for her.
This ain't no Galaxy class.
Yeah, exactly.
Anymore. Yeah.
Think about her sister that she didn't know about, how that traumatized her mother.
Right.
So like Beta Zeds in particular, I think maybe they're like prone to more harder bouts of trauma when it comes to lost loved ones or anything like that. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Guys, Toddy has to leave in a second, but so I'm gonna give him the stage real quick. Toddy, why don't you kick us off with your?
Oh, you guys carrying on into the?
Yeah, we'll carry on a little bit, but why don't you kick? Because the audience wants to keep going.
Nice.
Cake was like, you guys talk about a 1-minute trailer for 2 hours, and you can't give Star Trek Picard a little more time. So I think Cake is right. But before you go, you can kick us off with some final impressions after this discussion. Did you have any change of heart on anything? And give us a rating from 1 through 10 if you like, if you choose to. And then tell everyone where they can find you and what you're doing.
No, I didn't have a change of heart on any specifics or even on the episode. I think that the things that was said kind of, I guess, I don't know, reinforced some of the things that I was thinking, or maybe sharpened out the edges of like the opinions that I had, if that makes sense. But yeah, no, I think it's a fun episode. It's not the I guess the most meaty of Star Trek episodes that you could find, in terms of story or in terms of like, I don't know, social issues or that kind of stuff. Like the sci-fi concepts aren't really huge. It's not like it won't go down as like an iconic Star Trek episode in my opinion. But it is a good start, a solid start to like this new story that they're going to tell. I do hope that the story they're going to tell is going to be interesting and kind of like smaller and kind of character based, even if there is like a threat to perhaps like Starfleet Federation or what have you. I would want it to be a little smaller and a little more character based. Seems like they're going that direction. And yeah, so that's it. I think I'd give it like a solid 7, I think, out of 10. I'm not going overboard. I know that you'd give it like 17.5 out of like 3. But
Wow. Thanks for predicting my rating. We'll see if you're right.
But yeah, I give it a 7. It was fun, and I'm happy to see, I think I speak for everyone when I say like I'm happy to see like the old guys come back, and
Nostalgia is a hell of a drug.
It is, and everyone's doing a good job. And I think that the story that they're going to tell, or at least my hope is, or my feeling is, the story that they're going to tell is dictating the show rather than like the nostalgia dictating the story, right? So yeah, there you go.
Jill brings up a good point. I can't rate a chapter in a 10-hour movie, and yeah, like I think it is like that. It's like an opening act or a chapter. So yeah, but I'm still gonna give it a rating. Well, Toddy, where can folks find you? And thanks for joining us on this inaugural discussion for season 3. It's nice that like y'all showed up. This is very big, but I'm not saying goodbye yet. I'm just saying goodbye to you, Toddy. So
I should be here every week, but maybe I'll run away early every week.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how long these discussions go. I do like to keep it at an hour. It's just like a thing that's nice and compact and easy. If I want to put it up in a podcast, it's easy to digest, but we'll make an exception for this one. So folks can find you on Trek on the Tube. Is there any new videos you're dropping or anything you want to promote?
I just released an original series episode review the Squire of, you say it. How is it pronounced?
Gothos.
Okay,
The Squire
well,
of Gothos. How do you say it? How
the-
do you say it?
I don't know. Gothos, I guess that's what
Yeah.
you're saying. Okay, well, there
You could
go.
say Gothos if you want to. If you
Gothos.
want to be
See, I don't
fancy,
know.
yeah. I
So
don't
anyway,
know.
I just reviewed that because I'm still carrying on my episode reviews for the original series because that's a fun thing to do. I compare kind of like the original effects with like the remastered effects too because I have them both available. Yeah, and you can find me on Trek on the Tube on Twitter, and hopefully I'll be releasing some fun kind of experimental videos sometime soon.
Very cool. And Toddy and I sometimes do a regular Tuesday show in the daytime just
Yeah.
randomly. So we've
A
been doing
regular
that.
irregular show.
Irregular show, yeah. And we had also, by the way, if you want, check out our Lord of the Rings discussion. I thought that was very
Second
fun,
breakfast. Those
Second
were awesome.
Breakfast.
By the way.
That's what it was called. That's right.
You know what?
Second
You know what? You know what? I hated the show, but I watched. But I watched Second Breakfast just for you guys.
I was gonna say, regardless of what you think of the show,
I
our
did.
discussions are quality discussions.
I did. I watched the discussions, and I
There you go.
hated the show, but I watched the discussions for you guys.
Yay,
You
that
got it.
makes me happy.
That's how Ruben
right.
feels.
All right, Trek on the Tube. We wish you well on your journey, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Should I? Oh, he did it himself. That's great. I was gonna like.
I always do it myself.
Last thing I wanted to talk about was just the weapon that we saw and like your thoughts on like what the heck's going on this season with the big bad with the Shrike. Just kind of pile in some impressions of the what seems to be the antagonist this season and so on and so forth. We haven't actually met them on screen, but we've seen them in the trailer, of course. But anyways, why don't you go first on that one, PJ?
Well, I think she's going to say, "I'll get you, my pretty," and stuff like that. I don't want her to be some generic, like, "I am out for revenge." What's the reason? Give us a good reason. If she's connected to this terrorist attack and possibly future terrorist attacks, why? Give us a good reason. That's all I want. I don't want it to be too melodramatic. But my original theory was that Ed Spieler's character was like going to be her son,
Right,
and that he was gonna turn out to be bad. I still think he might turn out to be bad, a bad guy who turns good. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know where this villain is going. I think there's a bigger mystery than what we're first being presented with.
That was pretty impressive that you could like, it sucked in the building and then dumped it on the city like somewhere else. So like,
Yeah,
what
that
is
was sick,
that?
dude.
That's
That
a
was
crazy looking weapon.
it was harsh.
It was like a destruction transporter. It picked up everything, and then it moved it to somewhere else.
Dave says the weapon. That's right. The weapon makes sense to be stolen from Daystrom. I wonder though, did Lore steal it and take it to her? Lore's parts were stored there too. We know Lore's in the season, so interesting. Yeah, Marcelo and Braxton, any thoughts on the weapon, the Shrike? Any last final thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, I just want. Oh no, you can go. You can go first, Braxton.
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna say that the the aliens that had attacked Dr. Crusher. I did not recognize them. I don't know
Oh,
if
yeah,
you
it's a
guys
good-
had before.
We did some theory crafting on Text Trek, and I have a suspicion that we're gonna find out that they're avian because they have like a beak shape on their helmet, and I don't know, something about
They're saving
them.
money by masking them.
Right, exactly. That's my guess.
Oh, that's
And
very
they
interesting.
speak in a clicky kind of like
Clicky, kind of birdish
right,
kind of
yeah.
way. I don't know.
But I had
Um,
assumed that the ship at the end was whoever those aliens were in the beginning. But I have no idea who they are. Isn't there a red angel in this? A red woman? The red
Oh my god.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that ended
Yeah,
up
that's-
being Garrett, which I thought was pretty cool. Captain Garrett, the commander of Enterprise C, which
Yeah.
was really neat. They had a statue of her, but too bad it's destroyed now.
I don't agree. I don't understand why she has to go to this drug. First of all, this is a high level dude who's like Lord of the Underground or something, and he's literally dealing his stuff in public. For one thing, that doesn't happen. That doesn't make any sense. But the fact that she's like, "Oh, Starfleet's gonna let me in if you give me some info on terrorists," and he's like, Red Lady," and she's like, "Okay," and I'm like, that seemed like the means in which she got the information and how vague it was. Just like, huh? And then like, how is she gonna figure this out? The Red Lady, that could mean anything. But she does figure it out. But here's the thing: she figures it out just in time to witness it happen. Which is the I understand it's the catalyst for the rest of the season.
Also,
like,
it's kind of Raffi's bum luck, right? She's always figuring it out, like right.
She's
poor Raffi,
got the
man.
worst luck of almost any. Like she has this granddaughter that apparently she can't see, and she's looking at images of, and like she's clearly depressed. She's on the verge of relapse. She's such a hard up character. You can't help but feel sorry for her. And I can't wait for her handler to reveal him or herself or their self and get into the action and kind of help her, because her alone right now is not enough. She needs help.
Marcelo.
Yeah, the whole thing, well, to just PJ's little thing about Raffi and how she got that information, that's a little section of this episode that I thought Terry could have given us a little bit more. That scene did seem a little bumbling, but I was like, whatever. I'm on the rest of the episode. It's just a small little thing. I do think that the villain that we meet possibly next week or in the next whole weeks, I think that woman is a figurehead. I think that she has somebody else pulling her strings. I think that there's somebody much worse behind that woman. Whether it's Lore or somebody.
Sir Ian McKellen.
Oh my God, that would be great. yeah, that would be great. Whether whether it's
to you now.
yes, whether it's Lore or Moriarty, I don't know why a hologram would want to decimate the universe, but who knows?
Well, if you've been like locked up in a virtual world, being tricked for like the last 25 years.
Yeah, you want to kill everybody.
You might be homicidal too, but I don't know. I have a feeling that's not going to be the case either. But.
Yeah, but but the last thing that I will say, you mentioned it earlier, Starfleet Board. You sort of gave the MVP of this episode. For you, it was Riker. For me, the MVP of this entire episode is somebody that you didn't see. The MVP of this episode is Terry Matalas. Why? Because
voice, by the way, he's the dock master.
Oh yes, that's right. By the way, why? Because in my opinion, this is my second favorite episode of the entire series. I absolutely love what Terry did with this episode. Now, granted, he could just fall off a cliff in the next 9 episodes, but for this episode, he did a great job.
Nice. Good shout out to Terry Matalas. He might be
it's a good start. I'm not crazy about it, but if it keeps improving, then it's definitely going to be. It's not definitely going to be better than the first 2 seasons for sure. I mean,
good start.
It already feels different with the score, the opening kind of title card, which is not even a whole thing anymore. The saving the credits for the end with those visuals, it all feels like they've reinvented the show. It still has that crappy warp effect. It still has a Tellarite that looks like that god-awful rebooted disco version of Tellarites. It still has those things. But it has
a little bit of everything from every show.
A little underlit. A little underlit. We need a little bit more brightness in the scenes.
A little bit more brightness.
Because every room they're in is like either a dark bar, a dark room in a ship, a dark nebula, like space. It's just, these are little things, but as our friend Ruben says, nostalgia is a hell of a drug, and the Riker Picard stuff and the quips that sustained I'm like, that put the smile on my face. And Riker's Riker, dude, all the way.
Well, audience, we give a little rating. It doesn't have to make sense. You can give nonsensical ratings as well, but it's just the tradition at this point, so we do it. So I'll kick it off because, I've been accused in the past of changing my rating. I don't know why. But anyways, I'll kick it off. I'm going to give this episode... I'm going to give this episode a 10. It's a solid 10 in my book. So, yeah. What about you, Marcel? What's your rating for this episode?
I really, really enjoyed this episode, and just to surprise you right now, I will give this episode a 19. I absolutely. There's only a couple things that I didn't like. One was the whole Raffi stumbling upon her whole thing, and the fact that Beverly had to cock a phaser rifle that really ticked me off. But other than that, I loved everything about this first Terry Matalas written episode of Star Trek Picard, season 3.
Right on.
It was just
And
great.
Braxton, what do you give it?
I give it a 7 out of
19.
10.
That's solid.
I enjoyed a lot of things about this episode, but I want them to do better for some of the women in this episode moving forward, especially Seven of Nine. She's my absolute favorite character, and I hate seeing where she is right now, and I want better for her.
I have a feeling your wish will be granted. I just have a good feeling about it.
She's gonna get
I think
better.
You should stick with the show. I think you should stick with it, Braxton.
She'll get better.
You should stick with it and just see what happens. But 7's a solid rating for the first voyage out there.
Dude, I typically rate high, dude. Like, I almost rate as high as you typically, dude.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good point.
So I don't know, dude. I feel like a 7.
know.
Like if it gets a 7 from me, like I don't know, dude.
PJ, would you care to give a rating? And audience, feel free to give us your ratings as well.
I would give it 3 pump-action useless rifles out of 5. And yes, David Lowe, she did have to cock it every time.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's kind of fun though, dude. Like I play shooters, dude, and
Yeah,
and
but
I
why would
love
you
like
cock a rifle?
the cocking and the aiming, you want to have your focus fully on the aiming. To do this and then aim, do this and then aim it's illogical. It's illogical.
I love it.
Illogical.
Was hers a solid beam or was it like a pew beam? By the way,
It was a blast, like
It was a blast.
It wasn't like
and she
a-
pumps
yeah,
it
yeah.
twice to get like a good shot to disintegrate the dude, right? It's like,
all
what is
right.
it,
I did
5 and the battery's dead
There's
in the
something about
25th
the-
century?
There's something about the visual. By the way, she's very underfunded. You can tell, just like Doctors
Yes.
Without Borders, she's very underfunded.
She probably has
Obviously-
knockoffs.
Obviously,
There you go.
unlike Captain Petra, who apparently Jean-Luc gives millions of credits to on Lower Decks. You remember Captain Aberdeen in the last season? She was the archaeologist.
Oh yeah.
Remember, she was funded by Jean-Luc. Apparently, well, they haven't spoken in a long time, but yeah, apparently Jean-Luc couldn't fund Beverly's research or work, I should say.
Well, she had his kid and then kept it, like, literally broke off contact with everybody she knew from back in the day, just to keep the secret.
EFF Prime 70 gives it a 9.975. Nice rating. That's the
Wow,
threshold,
dude.
right? Like the limit. Very nice. All right. Well, thank you, audience, for joining us for this like awesome, fun discussion. I really enjoyed the comments, and I love that we got a surprise from Marcelo. I love that all
Thank
y'all
you,
showed
Terry
up to
Matalas.
this.
Thank
It was
you,
really
God.
cool. Thank you, Terry Matalas. Yes, for many reasons, not just Star Trek
Yes.
Picard, but
12
yeah,
monkeys.
Very cool. But also, Terry Matalas will be the first one to say this. It's not just him; it's a team of people.
I know,
It's
I
like
know, I know, I
a
know.
whole mess of
I know.
people that made this amazing. So
I know.
yeah.
So
thank you
thank-
to everyone.
So thank you, Terry Matalas and team.
Folks, you can find Marcelo on a bunch of places online, but if you follow him on Twitter, it'll lead you to everything else, and he's Queek Fanatic 88, right? Did I get that
88,
right? Queek
yep,
Fanatic
you got it
88.
right.
And is there anything dropping or anything you'd like to promote that's
Yeah.
coming out?
Yeah, well, in a couple of weeks, I will get together with my trusty crew of good folks, and we will probably watch the movie Return to
Oz, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, but now
if
I'm
we're gonna-
wondering.
Is that the one where they torture the little girl?
I don't
Is it?
remember
Yeah.
that part.
Oh,
Yeah, they
God.
give her
Might
shock.
be.
They give her shock therapy, little Dorothy.
Oh yes,
It's horrifying.
That's correct.
And the bicycle
Oh, really?
people
We
with
gotta
the
watch it,
bicycle
then.
with the bicycle
Don't spoil.
arms.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrifying.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
We're gonna do that on the 24th. So if you want to stop by, we usually start around 8ish on my channel. It's youtube.com/balloonhit productions. So if you want to stop by and say hi in the comments, one of us on the panel will acknowledge you. If it won't be me, it'll probably be one of my crew. But if you want to stop by, I'll be doing that on the 24th with my crew.
Very nice. Braxton can be found on Twitter as Leviathan026. Braxton, what are you coming to the salon tonight, or Crusher convo or anything like that?
Dude, maybe, possibly, maybe.
Okay, cool.
We'll
We'll
see.
see you there.
Yeah, I did
yeah.
wake up at 5:30 to watch this damn episode of Picard, dude. So I might
That
fall
explain-
asleep at 10 o'clock, dude.
That's true. I woke up at that same time we were waking. I should have called you or something. That's fun.
I watched it at 3 a.m. in the morning. I don't know about you guys, but I watched it at 3 a.m. in the morning.
I tried to watch it at 3 a.m. And the alarm just kept going off.
Okay.
But,
didn't
but
get
I
up.
have a pass because I got to see it a little early.
Before everybody else.
I was one of the lucky few, so yeah. So I'm okay. I guess it's okay that I didn't see it, but I'll be watching all the other ones at 3 in the morning if I can. I'm trying to rearrange my whole life around Picard, but we'll see what happens.
Oh wow, dude! Oh wow, are you gonna watch it again? Between now and the salon,
there's the
dude?
view. So I'm obsessed. I'm like a kid again. You remember when like the movies come out and they do all the press tours, like they go on all the shows and everything. So I
Yeah.
watched the Late Late Show last night with Colbert, and and then not last night, or it was like the night before. Today they were all on The View, a lot of them. I think Michael
Oh, wow.
Dorn, like yeah. So I'm gonna watch The View, and
And
Whoopi Goldberg was dressed
Guinan
as
was
Guinan,
dressed as
yeah.
Guinan, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh really,
It's
dude?
really
Oh
funny, yeah,
wow,
yeah.
Or
dude!
Whoopi
Oh
was dressed,
wow!
Yeah, so yeah, I'm dying to see that. I'm watching all the interviews on YouTube. Like there's like all the YouTube channels that by the way, Jake's Takes asked the really good questions. If you search Jake's Takes, he has all the cast.
He's
really good
considered
questions.
he's considered everybody's favorite interviewer. Like people who
He's
get
really
interviewed
cool,
by
yeah.
him.
Who
love
is
this
this?
dude? Jake's
Takes is what his thing is called.
He's literally the most liked interviewer I think I've ever seen. Like I think he's cool.
But
I
he
don't
asks
think-
very thought. It's because he
asks
the
good
cast-
questions.
Yeah, really good questions. Actually, one of those questions I'd like to ask you guys, switching it around to fans, but at the end of the series. So I'll save that for the end of the series.
Why'd you bring it up then? No.
I know. I'll tell you offline what the question is, so you can prepare for it if you want to. But PJ, you can be found online at BoatWreck1 on Twitter, and then your YouTube channel is called BoatWreck. Right? Did they get it right? BoatWreck1,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, cool.
Well,
And
we discussed
YouTube
Star
channel's
Trek
called
and other
BoatWreck.
things.
And
Hopefully
you've
we'll
taken
get
up the-
me and Braxton will do a Last of Us discussion. We need to catch up because I want to
That's awesome.
talk to Braxton.
I'm
and
caught
I
up
are
on everything.
fans
I
of
caught
that
up on
show.
everything.
Dude, we gotta
I
do
haven't
like
watched
3
The
through
Last of
5,
Us, but-
dude.
But PJ streams regularly on Friday nights and at other times, so tune into his channel. And I appreciate that you're doing those Friday night things.
After
I'm gonna try
Text
to
Trek,
pop
of
on.
course.
Yeah, it's pretty after Text Trek, of course. So it's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun that's going on. So yeah, lots of streams to watch. All you new members that came in here to the chat, thank you. I appreciate it. It was nice to meet you, Dave, and some others who were here that were new, and all our familiar friends and faces. Thank you. We hope to see you every Thursday at around 6:30 p.m. Live long and prosper, and we will see you next time. Thank you. Woo,
I hope
had
I